All right, I said I wasn't going to do this, but we have some breaking indie news. Sather is making his second game. It is called All for Naught. And over the past few months, he's been making a game studio called Playable Workshop, the same name as their tutorial series of Godot, along with some interviews, along with his friend Nick, who has also been helping him create the studio and this upcoming game. These two just announced yesterday All for Naught. I've been waiting to hear news on this game for a very long time, and I'm very excited for it. If you don't know, I made a video about Jack's first game years ago called Grave Danger. I'll probably play some clips throughout this video to give you a sense of that. All for Naught looks like a better version of Grave Danger, and I personally loved Grave Danger. So I'm super hyped for this upcoming game. It's not out yet. It's on Steam. You can wishlist it right now. I will link it in the description. But I figured today, because the game's not out yet, there's not even a demo, I figured we'd look at the announcement video and see the little secrets and some really cool behind the scenes stuff that most people probably wouldn't have noticed in the announcement video. So Jack made a 20-minute video kind of going through the whole process of this game creation. And there are these little Easter eggs where if you pause it and read stuff, you can kind of see the vibe of this game. Keep in mind, when this game officially comes out, I will make an entire video dedicated to it, kind of like I did with the first one. The first one, I did like a gameplay video. I might also do that on this channel as well. Maybe I'll experiment with gameplay videos if you all are interested in that type of content as well. But I'm trying to stick to video essays in general. So imagine Grave Danger, except you have 5 characters instead of 1, and each character has special abilities that you can use. A lot of people will think that this is a Vampire Survivors clone, and it is more complex than that, although Jack loves these types of games, so it makes sense why this game is also kind of similar to that genre as a whole. But this game introduces something different that the other games really don't have, and that's why I think it's really important to keep your eye on this project specifically. And I'm really hyped for it, honestly. I think it's going to be a super fun game that I'm going to sink so many hours into, honestly. I also want to give attention to the games that not a lot of people do. I think I was one of the only people to talk about Grave Danger years ago, and so I want to keep that energy with this new project. Because I don't want to just compare this game to Grave Danger and say it's Grave Danger 2, because it's not. It is a completely different system. And I forgot to even mention this because I'm so hyped for it. There's just so many things to talk about with this game specifically. But they made their own engine with this game. So the first game was in Godot. This game is its own complete engine.
He told me to tell you, in order to get this working, he used standard Godot and C# with an ECS pattern to make it work performantly. He says this kind of fights how Godot works with their node system, so we ended up forking Godot and making our own engine branch version of it that we're calling Dungeon. You get it? Like an engine, but dungeon. Even though most of our game takes place outside now, but not important.
One of the other reasons why I'm mentioning Grave Danger as a game, even though it's a separate game made years ago that is very outdated compared to this newer game, there is footage of Grave Danger that you see in this video, so I feel like it makes sense for me to talk about it here as well. It's nice that Jack kind of got over the first game itis of like, oh, I got to make a perfect first game, and now hopefully the game will release in October or November of this year specifically. So be on the lookout for future videos about that, because I'm very excited for this game. I'll also link this full video in the description because it's a really good video about the creation process of video games, especially from a super small, brand new indie studio that you need to be looking out for. Also, the fact that you can just use this dungeon engine that they made, I think it's on their Patreon or something like that. So they literally created a tool for game developers to use themselves. And I think that is a very commendable thing, along with the YouTube tutorials that they've already done over the past year and a half-ish. But yes, the vibe is very much top-down hack and slash, endless bullet kind of game. I do appreciate that Jack also talked about the inspirations for this game. There were 10, 20, 30 different games that inspired this game specifically. So I honestly love when artists do that because it shows that they understand the genre that they are trying to throw their hat into, if that makes sense. So at about 4 minutes in, we get a glimpse of some possible upcoming characters for this game. So over here, we got like a warrior, gruff warrior. Kind of reminds me of The Witcher, that character. I don't know his name, but that's kind of what it reminds me of. Then we have a dark rogue lumberjack kind of character here. That's also like an archer. This one's really cool. It's a red hooded a guy with like a face mask and like a bloody knife. That one's really cool. I love how edgy that one is. And we have the wizard here with like the brown and blue staff, very Gandalf-esque. While this category is called weapons, we also get a glimpse of these characters, right? So this one is really cool. This is like a hooded skull with a scythe, like a Grim Reaper kind of character. I'm getting really excited looking at all these characters. We got this like mage healer with like a sun staff. We got another warrior. This one kind of reminds me of not Beowulf. What's the character name? Braveheart. A little bit of that energy here with like the blue crystal sword. We got just a straight up D&D orc right here, which I love. Super aggressive with the battle axe. You got the jester here with like the conniving smile, very Joker-esque, with the pointed dagger on all sides. And then the last one we see in this glimpse is a bard with like a guitar, an acoustic instrument of some kind. If you couldn't tell, the vibe is very much D&D / medieval / fantasy kind of characters. Because the main character is the king, who sits in the middle of the four surrounding soldiers. I'm pretty sure the king is named King Not, and that's why it's called All For Not. Pretty clever. I love the title, by the way. I don't know if these characters will be in the finished game, but that is a good look at the type of vibe and characters that we might end up actually getting. But we won't know until October, November of this year, hopefully. We also got a bunch of icons that are revealed here in like a montage area. So we got like teeth, we got swords, this healing symbol, we got a bunch of items. These are like UI icons, I think. You got cards here. We got a witch, a warrior, several different versions of the warrior. These are the parts to the costumes, I think. There's costumes here. There's different versions of the characters. So some are hooded, some are not hooded. There's just so much art here. It's crazy. Yeah, like different variations of the characters. The Viking character that I don't think was in the previous one, we have a different version of the bard. Oh, okay. So the thing that they made, they didn't just make an engine. They made like a specific, either a plugin or a program of some kind to basically automatically rig characters. So they used a 3D rig and they translated that to 2D characters, which is really impressive. I don't understand all of it because I'm not a game dev. I think it'd be cool to make a game at some point. We'll see if that ever happens. But as far as I understand, it's a very impressive system that they came up with or that they're using or something along those lines. So that's really cool. Okay, game freeze when you have one character dice with ability symbol roll on a skewer thing. So this is kind of the explanation of how the game works in terms of gameplay and characters. Mousing over shows longer description of the item. When you have 4 characters, it could be like this spinning. Okay, so possible UI elements. Yeah, then Jack shows a list of all of the types of games that have inspired this game. And there's a lot. There was a lot of R&D that went into this game, which I am really excited for because of it. They show some code. I know nothing about coding. I coded one game and I used RenPy and I thought I understood what I was doing, but I've forgotten all of that knowledge. So there's some screenshots and footage of like actual code if you're interested in that. And now we get this whole kind of spreadsheet of stuff, this Millinotes thing. There's stats, icons, characters. It's hard to read any of this, even though it's in 4K, which I'm wondering if that was intentional. But there's a lot of attention to detail going in this game. And then we get a dungeon run 2D stat spreadsheet, a little screenshot of that. Max health, HP regen, physical, magic, armor, critical movement, lifesteal, XP, projectile, stats, hit powers, burst attack percentages, a lot of stuff that is interesting if you like spreadsheets like me. But it's so weird seeing all this without playing the game. Like, we see gameplay footage, actual gameplay footage. Thank you for showing actual gameplay footage in a sea of games that want to show just cinematics. I'm looking at you, GTA 6. Barely any gameplay, but there's pre-orders for a digital game. We're not talking about that. I'm just frustrated over that. But thank you, Jack, for showing actual gameplay. Like, the gameplay is why I want to play this game, along with this documentary, 20-minute documentary about the whole thing. Yes, so here it is, All For Naught on Steam, coming soon. You can wishlist it right now on Steam. If you like Vampire Survivor-esque games, you're probably going to love this, so I'm probably going to love this. I always love when a game is like, okay, you can play all these characters. And with this game, it's like, okay, you can play all these characters, but at once, at the same time. There's literally 10 seconds of footage on this site, and I'm already super invested. So with this 10 seconds of footage, we see all 5 characters. We see 2 characters. And then 3, so it looks like that there's going to be this progression system that happens where the longer you play, the more characters you get, I think is what they're implying with this. Okay, so that's 25 minutes. We have 5 characters. Yeah, we start the game, we get 2 characters. 2 minutes in, we get another character. And 19 minutes in, yeah. So there is an actual progression system with this game, which is cool. You don't just start with all 5 characters, I'm pretty sure. According to this 10 seconds of gameplay, you get more gameplay in the documentary. But I appreciate that there's actual gameplay here, because if it was just the screenshots, I'd be like, okay. But seeing it actually function and everything flow, I think was really important. Even though it's only 10 seconds, I'm sold. Like, I'm so excited to play this. Yeah, it's a roguelike bullet hell combat single player action game. Love it. Sign me up right now, because I forgot to mention it's a roguelike, so I'm very hyped for this. All for Naught is a medieval roguelike where you play as a ruined king who can recruit up to 4 followers to battle your way to the castle. Gather riches, collect new gear, unlock new characters, and try to craft the perfect battalion to crush your enemies and take back the throne. Yeah, I'm really interested in this game because of the dynamics that you can have with the 5 characters. The gameplay is going to change purely on what characters you're using. And so just the amount of combinations you can do and just the customizable aspects with this game makes me really excited, because you got to figure out, oh, what formula works best for this game? Like, what characters work best with other characters? It's about the flow state and the synergy between the characters, which if you have good synergy with the characters, or if the game is about the synergy, you can play this game for hours, hundreds of hours. That's what happened to me with Super Auto Pets, is me trying to figure out, okay, what's the synergy between different things? But that's not about that. That's about this. All for Naught on Steam. It's not available yet, but you can wishlist it right now, and hopefully it'll be available later this year. I will cover this game when it comes out, and I'm very excited for it. Yeah, so it's technically Playable Workshop's first game, but it's Jack Sather's second or third game or fourth game. Second release game, I think third or fourth game total, some of which were unfinished and never released. But this is the first official game of Playable Workshop and the second official game of Jack Sather's game career. I also appreciate that Jack shouted out a bunch of really cool game developers that helped in some regard or were like super good inspirations and stuff like that. And so I'm going to leave that video in the description as well, because there's a lot here that's linked, but it'll be just easier if you go to the video and then also the Steam page. So yeah, keep on the lookout for All for Naught. I have high hopes for this game. I think it's going to be really good, really hype, really fun, and I could see myself playing it for at least 100 hours, probably more.